My name is Rachel George. My ancestral name is Qualtanut, and I'm from the Tsleil-Waututh and Squamish Nation. And I have a project here. It's my canoe documentary called Canoe Connections. So, a little bit about the making of Canoe Connections. I made the film when I was in my first year of film school at Capilano University at IIDF. And the subject was actually supposed to be my canoe mentor, Keith Point. I had originally, formatted the questions for him, and he wasn't able to make it. And my project was due, so I had to just jump in. And right in the classroom, one of my friends, Jessie Anthony, she used her DSLR camera and asked me all the questions I had prepared for Keith. And then I had already been shooting all the footage for the documentary before that, like all summer, and some of it with some of the students, we took a canoe out. But that's actually a pretty funny story. I ended up being in my first project just because I couldn't get my interview subject to come in. But I was actually pretty happy with how it turned out. I've also been hired to write my first feature film, which is it's a lot of work, but I'm willing to do the work because to me it's fun. In the future, I hope to write and direct my own stuff. So this is a great start, and I'm like really excited about the piece that I'm currently writing. And I feel like I'll always want to do documentaries too, because they're just so important. And if you have a strong message, like for this canoe documentary, the message is really just like the connections between us as people, the water, and the canoes, and how important those three things are connected. So that was like a really strong message, that I was trying to like convey. So that's the beautiful thing about documentaries is like the voice you have as, I guess, like a storyteller or a journalist, and just like getting your message out there. Canoes are very meaningful to me. Um, I have been raised and I grew up around canoes. My father was a canoe maker and he learned to build canoes from Keith Point, who I also learned to make strip canoes from. And Tsleil-Waututh, that's the nation I'm from, means people of the inlet. So our reserve is right on the inlet, and canoes are a huge part of, putting those in the water, putting those in the inlet, and there's a very strong connection there for First Nations people who are like on the coast, and canoes. It's really a way of life for us to travel and to hunt, and part of traveling is getting to ceremonies that are like really important to us. So there's also a spiritual connection there, and there's also a spiritual connection for myself being a Tsleil-Waututh woman, and the water, the inlet, the ocean, the seas, because that water feeds us and provides for us, and it's also just beautiful to look at. And it always feels good to be on the water. Like when you grab your paddle and you get in your canoe and you start paddling, it's good for you like mentally and emotionally and physically as well. And there's just no other feeling like going for a really long paddle, and the scenic view is always just beautiful. And there's no way I'd rather spend my life. I'm so happy that I grew up around it, and that I still am a part of it, and I always love to grab my paddle and go for a ride.